Hello and welcome to a quick cold and dark tutorial of the wonderful PMDG 737NGX. You are looking at the 737-800 with winglets version, and the airline is Scandinavian Airlines. First of all, I want to tell you what this tutorial is about. It is just a quick and simple tutorial of how to get this aircraft from cold and dark state to a ready state for a very basic flight. It's not how you would operate this airplane in the real world. This is meant as a little warning because I just want to show you how you can easily set it up for your first flight or whatever, because that's what I was basically looking for when I bought this airplane when it came out, and that's what I'm looking for in a lot of add-on airplanes when I have them freshly bought on my hard disk. Okay, so this is what you get when you start the simulator up. You can also define a cold and dark states, but I didn't do that here because I don't know what you have set it up to, because usually when you buy the 737 you get this state. It is powered up, and what I do is I hide my yoke or put my yoke down like this. And what you should do first is when you load the airplane up, you get a small window or a small text up here in the left that tells you initializing systems and a countdown, which is about 20 seconds I think, and you have to wait for this countdown to be finished. Don't touch anything before that countdown is finished, okay? Alright, so we have our FMCs down here. We can make them bigger with this one, and I think it's also shift 3 and shift wait a minute, 7, 8. Okay, it's shift 3 for this one. I don't know what it is for this one, but it doesn't matter. So the first thing we have to do is go to PMDG setup, panel state load, and NGX cold and dark. So this brings your airplane into the cold and dark state. Just click here and execute, and you see this is the counter initializing all systems and the countdown. Wait for that to finish. Don't touch anything before this counter finishes, okay? Alright, so we have fuel 100%, that's fine. Okay, cold and dark, and you can see on the outside the door is opened. Doesn't matter much at this point. So we have a cold and dark airplane. So the first thing that you should do is go to the overhead panel and switch battery on. Place the switch guard, and the next thing you should do is switch on the fuel pumps, all of them, and the cross feed. Go to the APU control, switch it from off to on, and click it another time to start it up. Okay, so now you have to wait for the APU to start up. What you can do in the meantime is you can switch the emergency lights to armed, place the switch guard, and you can of course switch on the anti-collision lights, and the position lights are on steady. That's okay. You can also switch on the seatbelt sign, of course, and the hydraulic pumps, you can switch them all to on. And what you should also do is here way up in the overhead panel is the IRS system, and you should switch it on navigation. Okay, I'm just showing you that here. This is the navigation position. Okay, just click that away. You don't have to do that, but you can. So when we now take a look at the FMC. Okay, this warning sound that you hear is the airplane warning you that there is power available, but you're still on batteries, so you have to switch on the APU generators, both here, and you can hear that the airplane systems are coming up. First thing you should do now is get the airplane ready with all the ground connections. So you go to FS Actions, close the door. See, And what I do is I also disconnect all the ground connections, wheel chocks removed, and then I switch on the parking brake. That's very important. And then you can return, and basically all the stuff on the ground and the airplane is now closed. That's okay. So we go to the FMC, clear, and next thing you should do in case you need it is position initialization, and I would just always use the last position because that's always correct in most of the cases. And I just click here and click here, and I don't have real-time initialization in the real airplane. This would take about 10 minutes. You can switch that on in the options. I have a fast alignment of 10 seconds, I think, and I think that's the best way to go here in the simulator. So we have that, and I'm just going to put in a basic route so that you can make your takeoff and all that. So you go to route, and I just say we are at Stockholm Airport. I type that in here, origin, and destination will be Vienna. I just type that in here. I'm not going to enter any waypoints. I'm just going to type in a departure and arrival button. Departure in Stockholm will be, because of the wind, is 340 degrees. You can change that here with next page and previous page and take a look at the runways. So the runway which fits the most will be 26, and I will not, well, I can just put in a standard instrument departure, just whatever, just so that we have one in here, and execute. Oh no, I'm sorry. Okay, go to the routes, activate execute, and departure arrival, Vienna arrival, we will go for ILS 16. I'm just putting in something now, okay? It's just so that there is something. We can do another tutorial on the route selection, all that stuff. So you can now see that we have a route. If you go to the legs page, you see that there is a route discontinuity. I'm just going to show you that on the plan page. You can see next page. You can see Gamli, and the route doesn't continue there. So I'm just clicking on Gamli and fill it in here. Execute, and this one as well. Balat, then Whiskey 670. Execute, and you can see everything's fine with the route. It's not perfect, but it's fine. You can go for this, okay? So we go back to the initialization page, and we just have to fill in all the aircraft weights. Transition altitude will be 7,000, and you just have to right click here. Oh, I'm sorry, zero fuel weight. You have to right click here, gives you the correct number, and you can type it in. Reserves, I'm just guessing a number now, it's 2, and cost index, whatever your virtual airline demands, I'm just putting in 50 here, and cruise altitude will be 330. Just put that in here and execute, okay? And then you go to N1 limit. You can select all the things for the takeoff if you want a derated takeoff. Don't mess around with that yet. That's just too much into detail for now. I'm just putting in flaps 15. It gives you the correct V speeds. Just have to fill them in here with a left click, and then you can do a right click here, and it gives you the right trim, which is 5.19. Go to the trim tab here, and you can set the trim of your airplane 5.19. which is just an approximate. Okay, here we go, and we are almost done with the FMC programming. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is we'll set the auto brake to RTO, which is rejected takeoff. We will activate the flight directors and the auto throttle, and if you've done everything right, you can already activate VNAV and LNAV, which is the autopilot mode. And I'll set the IAS. The first speed setting should be V2, which is 1.152, and the heading is 260, which is the runway heading. 10,000 feet is fine. I'm going back to map mode here, and a little less zoom. And of course you should set the correct barometric altitude. I don't have that handy now, so I'm just pressing B, which is the standard button for the calibration in Prepared and FSX. So TCAS is off. You have to set this one. I'm just putting in standard 2000 here, and I'm putting it on TARA already. I know that's not completely correct and true to real life, but I'm just showing you how to do the quick setup, and we'll return to the overhead panel. And here everything is pretty much set. You just have to set the selected cruise altitude if you need it, and you can set the landing altitude. That's the elevation of your destination. I'm just making a wild guess here. I don't know the elevation of Vienna by heart, but I'm just putting in 1,000 feet. Okay, you can already put the probe heats on and the window heats. I don't know if the yaw damper is already accepting to be activated, but he is. That's fine. The lights, you can already set them. It's a little bit too early, but in case, yeah, okay, we'll set them later. The next thing you should do, or in case you are using Ground Services X, you can do the pushback there. You can do a manual pushback with Shift P, I think it's in FSX and Prepared, but I'm showing you the PMDG way to do it. You can go to FS Actions, you can go to pushback, and you can do a straight pushback. I'm going to do an 80 feet pushback. And don't turn the nose, and yeah, you can pretty much start the pushback right now.
And ground cockpit. Go ahead, Captain. We're all set to go up here. We've been cleared to push and start at your discretion.
Right to that, ready for push. Power and air are clear, doors closed. We are ready for pushback. Release parking brake, please.
Okay, release the parking brake.
Okay, parking brake is off, cleared to push.
And he will push you back. Okay, I just have to release the brakes.
Brakes off, here we go.
Alright, so during the pushback we can start the engines, which you can you have to check here. You have to set the APU bleeds on. You can switch the engine bleeds off, and you can put the valve, the isolation valve, to auto and the left pack to auto, and you should leave the right pack off.
Push is complete. Set parking brake, please.
Okay, that's a little bit too. Wait a minute, let me see. Are we away enough to do this? Yeah, I think. Okay. Set parking brake.
Alright, brakes are set and pressure's normal.
Okay, sir. Tow bar is off. Pin is out.
Okay, so when you have the APU pressure or the duct pressure in this area, it's okay, and you can start the engine. You can select the ignition left or ignition right, doesn't matter really. You just have to set this switch to with a left click. You have to set it to ground, and you can see it's coming up, and I'm always waiting till N2 reaches 15 here, and then I will inject the fuel. 14, 15, inject the fuel, and you can hear the engine humming up. And we can, as soon as this flips to off, I'm always Switching it to continuous, and we can start the right engine, engine number 2. Wait for 15 to spool up. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Inject the fuel. Okay, set the flaps. We set 15. Okay, this is fine. Switch on the taxi light. Of course, we can switch on the generators now and switch the APU to off. Both engine bleeds on, APU bleed off. Packs to auto. Recirculation fan is already working, anti-ice as desired. And you can actually take a quick look if there are any indications that something's wrong. Everything is alright. And yeah, we are set up and ready for taxi. And this was this quick cold and dark tutorial for the 737. I thank you very much for watching it, and I hope this helps you. And until the next time, I wish you, as always, happy landings.